Hello, it's 420. You may be too high to even tell what the hell I'm trying to tell you, but today I am going to do something I never imagined doing in my life. I am going to explain to you why you should watch the WNBA, particularly the LA Sparks. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is 420. I am perfectly aware of what this day represents to a lot of people in Los Angeles. I'm straight edge. I have at least what appears to be a drug test to prove it. I am on the road in the manure pit of Omaha, Nebraska. I am not broadcasting from inside my hotel room. One too many drug deals. Nobody likes video cameras during those. But if you like the content that we typically put out every day, by all means, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We try to put a video out between 9 and 10 a.m. every day, West Coast time. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. I am not God. I am not perfect. Now, before we get to the main topic, WNBA, let's go through the scoreboard and the notes for around LA. Atlanta, they snapped the Dodgers' 7-game winning streak. They beat them 3-1. Meanwhile, the LA Kings inch ever closer to qualifying for the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since 2018. Jonathan Quick, 29 saves. Philip Deneau, a tie-breaking goal in the third period. The Kings win 2-1. Also, extremely emotional night at Dignity Health Sports Park last night, right? Landon Donovan, a Galaxy legend, returns to manage San Diego Loyal against his former team, and everybody was just, their jaws dropped, for the impossible happened. The impossible. Kevin Cabral actually scored. Seriously. Galaxy won, Loyal nothing. I find it hard to believe, too. Today, the Dodgers will wrap up their series with the Atlanta Braves at 1 o'clock. And, of course, in the U.S. Cup, LAFC takes on Orange County. Now, to the notes. UCLA basketball. Jules Bernard has decided to enter the NBA draft. Now, he can make a comeback, okay? He's not on any mock draft I've seen. So I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to get the lay of the land. If the scouts say, yeah, he might get drafted, maybe he goes, but he always has a chance to come back. He averaged almost 13 points a game for UCLA last year. USC football, Quentin Joyner of Manor, Texas. He is the number 14th. There's a difference between top and 14. Running back in the nation. He has committed to playing football for the Trojans next year. With the Lakers, now, look, I have a special message for idiot bloggers out there. And believe you me, I am an idiot blogger. I get it. Stop with the proposed trades. If you have nothing to go on, if you have no sources inside the NBA, don't create your own trades. There is some dingle-douche who last night actually wrote on a blog that the Lakers should trade LeBron James to the Clippers for Paul George. Stop it. Cut it out. Nonsense. I work at a lot of hospitals, right? You are full of more crap than a fat guy's bedpan, okay? Stop it. LeBron James is not getting traded to the Clippers for Paul George. Use your head. Let's talk WNBA. Now, look, I realize it's not a lot of people's cup of tea. And to be frank, for a long time, it hasn't been mine either. I can be chauvinistic. I'm not so much of a chauvinistic to where I don't like women's sports. I actually do. It just depends on the sport. I did give the WNBA legitimate chances repeatedly to win me over, and they haven't done it. I even saw the first WNBA game. It was the Liberty in LA to play the Sparks, right? A lot of missed shots, a lot of F-ups. And the thing that crystallized the WNBA to me came in that game. Lisa Leslie steals the ball at midcourt. She has a clear path to the basket, and everybody knew what she had to do. She had to make a statement for women's basketball. She had to dunk. And she banged the ball against the bottom of the rim. She couldn't even get above the rim. That was WNBA. Now, since then, we can say that the Sparks are actually pretty important in an unimportant league. They've won the WNBA title 3 times, and they've had some of the greatest players in the league's history there. They've had not just Ms. Leslie, they've had Candace Parker, but last year they went 12-20. They missed the playoffs for only the 5th time in 25 years. So why should you watch? Schadenfreude. It's a German word. It means if you take pleasure in watching other people fail, if you're a hater, if that's what brings you joy, you need to watch the Sparks. You need to watch WNBA. Because here's the deal with the WNBA. It is not necessarily great basketball, but in terms of women's basketball, it's extremely competitive. So much so that if you have one bad ball game, you're out of a job. Okay? The WNBA screws over its players so bad. It is a lousy job to have. And you should hate life if you're part of the WNBA, right? The reason is, it kind of reminds me of over at the Comedy Store. I was a comic once, right? The Comedy Store does not pay comics until you become really successful. Then you might get 25 bucks. I'm not joking. Really successful comics, they go to the Comedy Store, they go to the original room, they do 20 minutes of just killer knockout material, and they get about 25 bucks. Doesn't even fill your tank. Their idea is, oh, well, if you're successful here, you can get a bigger job somewhere else, so you should perform for us for chump change. That is the WNBA philosophy. Because the bigger contracts for these athletes is to take their game and to play in Europe, to play in China, to play in Russia. So they play for chump change in the United States with the idea of making it big somewhere else. The WNBA screws, this is these women's lifelong dream. They grew up watching the NBA. They grew up wanting to play basketball at the highest possible level. And instead of playing to sell out arenas, they're playing for chump change in front of 2,000 people in a junior college in Texas. How would you haven't you had failures in life? Don't you know that people are kind of glad that you're failing in life? I know people are glad that I fail in life. So I know this. I will now watch the WNBA so I can see somebody else suffer for a change. Somebody else give up their life's joy just to chase a dream that they'll never get. Let me tell you about the Sparks, right? They were 12-20, and they just trashed the rest of the roster. There's only a couple of people returning from last year. They have a new center, Liz Cambage. She used to play for Las Vegas. She wanted some more money because she noticed their coach was making $1 million and she wasn't. One of the best players in the NBA. Nobody makes $1 million in the WNBA. She complained about the salary. Cut. You're fired. Next. The Sparks have an ex-MVP in their lineup, Nika Owumike. My apologies. I don't want to be disrespectful to her. She's a former MVP, right? She's had knee problems. She keeps having knee problems. Cut. Next. The league goes through players like toilet paper. They treat them like toilet paper. You take this guard that they brought over from Atlanta, right? Chennedy Carter. Now, Ms. Carter was a 4th overall draft pick by the Atlanta Dream a couple of years ago. She was put on suspension for the entire year, and we don't even know why. For all we know, she looked at the mascot funny. Next. Lose your job. So the official phrase was conduct detrimental to the team. Nobody knows where she is until she got traded to the Sparks. She admits to being very emotional. Yo, you need to take some Ritalin. And I don't mean that as an insult. If you want to keep playing basketball, you need a shrink. I don't even think you're a bad person. I don't know what you allegedly did. But everybody's looking to get rid of WNBA players. You know why there's no sports writers at WNBA games? Yes, Ms. Parker, tough night for the Sparks. Do you have any comment? Yeah, I missed 3 shots. Is Jiffy Lube hiring? Why would you play for the WNBA? Why would you? You have one bad game, you're an Uber driver. It's so terrible with the way they treat these players. You can get let go of any time. Playing well in the WNBA is nothing, just something that you put on your resume for a better contract overseas. And oh, by the way, what happens when you go overseas? Glad you asked. Brittany Griner, she's in a Russian prison. She is in a Russian prison. And she is arguably the most famous player one of the most famous top 5 players in the history of the WNBA. She is in the gulag. That is how women's basketball players get treated. And if you hate your life just as much as I do, you should take great joy in watching other people suffer failing to get their dreams. Are you a hater? The tickets are cheap. Now, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, then by all means, like and subscribe. We put out a new video every single day. This is probably the only video I make on the Sparks because I don't think I'll come up with a take that's anywhere nearly as intelligent as this one. But having said that, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.